Hello and welcome back to Organic Cardboard over here at my house with Sean. Sean is over at my house for the very first time. I actually just moved, so I was living at a condo, which wasn't the best place to bring people. I could bring them; it's a little tight, and but now I just finally moved. And I've finally gotten to get a game out on the table. And today, what we are going to be talking about is Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy. Second Dawn, not a New Dawn. So this is the.
So is this a reprint of New Dawn for the Galaxy?
It is a second edition, and I believe this was even a reprint. I think I got a reprint of. I don't think I got the original print of the second edition.
Oh.
But this is redoing Eclipse, a New Dawn for the Galaxy, and it's basically the same game. There's not a huge amount of difference in it. But what we're doing in Eclipse is it's a 4X game, and a lot of people have talked about Eclipse as being like a lighter version of Twilight Imperium.
Right.
So so you're kind of doing a similar thing. You have less options. You don't have as many factions. There's like 6 factions. You can have 6 people playing at a time. You don't have that.
It seems like it would be a lot for this game, though.
6, yeah. 6 is a hefty amount to play.
It's a long day.
I have done that, and it is a long day. It's not a Twilight Imperium day, but it is still a good afternoon, anyways. A lot of fun though, either way, but it does take a while. But yeah, main differences between this though and Twilight again is that you aren't doing that like political voting thing or whatever at the end of each round. You're not racing to 10 points. There's definitely not as much depth to the game, I don't think, as certainly not as much depth, not as much story background and everything like that, flavored text and whatnot for all the races as Twilight, but a much more manageable experience and a lot of fun. Another one of the biggest things that's different in this game is that you're really set up to customize your ships in the game. Where I don't know.
Civilization, really.
Yeah, it's mostly around ships. I think all of this tech.
That's true. I guess they really except for augmenting maybe how much you could activate in a turn, it's really tech to go into your ships to change. Right?
Yeah. There's some economy production and things like that as well. But yeah, for the most part, it's ship oriented things or things that allow you to get more ships out and get them around this cosmos that you're exploring. True to a 4X game, you're kind of flipping new tiles as you go, and you start out like with not hardly anything on the board, and then as you go, you're taking over kind of quadrants of this whatever this galaxy, finding ancients that you can get ancient technology from. So little treasure hunting kind of things that are going on, seeing what shows up. But man, I really like the way that you do modify your ships and stuff on Twilight as well. But something about this feels a little more, I don't know, direct. You're like individually changing out little pieces on this one.
Taking out. So I feel like this game superficially looks like Twilight Imperium, like the little ships and stuff. They give you that same vibe, and they're about the same quality as far as like the components and stuff. But this board and the way you augment do augment your whole civilization more, I guess, than Twilight Imperium, right?
You get text and stuff.
You've got the whole political part that doesn't really seem to have to do with war or economy. It's a different thing.
Yeah, you're trying to hit these weird little goals and stuff for those 10 points that you're trying to hit in Twilight. So because you're not doing that in this one, you don't have this weird thing of like get 2 green techs and a red tech or whatever. It's been a while since we've both played Twilight.
And I just play it once.
Yeah, it was just once. Yep. Love to play it more, but that's a whole day to do. Where Eclipse kind of advertises itself as this more bite-sized experience. Bite-sized, I don't know. It's still a big chunk. It's like having one big meal instead of having like a what was that thing they used to do in the medieval ages where they would just eat constantly until they puked?
Cato?
Yeah, but more than a buffet. What do they call that? Where they just
binge?
eat? Yeah, they would just
binge
eat.
And purge.
They would eat. It's a feast. I guess that was like the traditional feast, right? Was that they would just eat constantly or something like that? I don't know. It might have been a different word. So off track. This is like one good meal though, where you're expecting, especially if people know the game pretty well, you're expecting to be able to finish this in like 3 or 4 hours, whereas Twilight's going to be more like 7, 8, 9. I think ours was close to 9 hours probably when we played.
Yeah.
But we were also playing with a good, full set of individuals as well. Sean and I played this just 2-player, which is not. It's a great learning number. Like if you do a 2-player game, it's a great game to sit there and learn the game with. It's not the optimal number of players, I think, to get the full experience, the 4X experience. It's fairly easy to keep yourself kind of cordoned off away from so like Sean and I literally had no fights the whole time. We could have. That's
a good and a bad thing, though.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I appreciated with this is there was sort of, because of those ancients and their little AI robots that you're trying to defeat, you kind of have this third party that doesn't have any feelings that you can beat on. Yeah. so you can go and conquer them and conquer them and conquer them, and like you're not feeling like you're causing some animosity.
Again, another great thing about having a 2-player kind of learning game here, which is this is Sean's first time playing it. Yeah. I played this four or five times, maybe somewhere around there. I have played it once at a full 6-player count. And that was, again, a lot of fun. I enjoyed it the entire time, but it was very long. It did take a long time. And there's certainly moments in that game which kind of feel like, you're like, man, it's not super obvious sometimes, like whether you're winning or losing on this game. It's very obvious in Twilight, because like it's 10 points. Whoever gets to 10 points, you win. Right. But this one, there's a lot of points kind of hidden around on the board. And a lot of them that can be grabbed or lost really quickly if somebody starts going on a big military binge in your area. But with us playing 2-player, you have these kind of NPC characters like Sean was alluding to. You have these, I can't think of what they call them, defenders or the other guardians. So you have these guardians that take place of all of the other player positions that would be out in the original setup. And then you have ancients, and ancients are a little easier to defeat than the guardians. So the guardians kind of give you something to go after if you want to beef up a little bit to hit them and get like some of the better locations that you can increase your economy. You only got 3 resources. You're getting science and money and building materials. And so
I appreciate that too. I like when they keep it to kind of a tight group of resources to get to.
It doesn't make it so that exactly. It's like it's simplified in a very this game in a lot of ways it's a much more streamlined version than Twilight, and I can see why a lot of people would like this game better than Twilight because of that. But again, it gives you plenty to play with on a 2-player experience. But with that, I really think it's going to probably shine best around 4 players probably. I think 6 is a lot of fun. But I will say, when we played this 6-player game, we had one individual, and I was telling Sean about this, one person that was playing with us. And They were doing what seemingly terrible the entire time. They were playing the same faction that Sean played this time, the Hydrian Progress, which are like these kind of like slightly Cthulhu-esque or like
Nerds.
You said it. It was that D&D character I was.
Oh, Mind Flayer.
Mind Flayers. Yeah, they kind of have a Mind Flayer look to them. And they're really good at science. So this person who we were playing with, he just like couldn't do hardly anything the entire time. He was having to skip really early. You have 8 rounds, and you can like, you only have so many actions you can do. He was like hardly getting anything done seemingly. But the whole time he was making constant progress with his science. He got like all of his techs filled out, all of his tracks, and then was able to do just enough battling that he was able to get these little bonus points as you get from battling as well. And he ended up beating everybody, which was really neat. And I really like that idea of you could be in a 6-player game and go, oh man, I feel like I'm losing, but am I? Am I really losing? Maybe not. So it gives you something to keep going with from there. So I really like that quite a bit. I don't know, what was your favorite thing that you liked about this game, and maybe something that you didn't like?
Oh well, I liked the aspect of doing your tech. Mm-hmm. It was a little AP inducing. But what you need to remember is that you don't start off with all of this. It's like you had just a really small amount. Was it just 12? Like on every round, you draw 12 more of these. You draw 12, but they can be the same one over. Multiple times. It's like 3 or all of these have 4 of them. At least,
this one was like falling out of the thing. There were so many. I don't think we got this tech at all. This phase shield. So so there's at least I think there was 5 of them.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, there's
I've got one of these. Mm-hmm.
So there's at least 5 of all the base techs here, and then you have the special techs at the bottom, the black ones too, that are only one person can get.
So I like that there's sort of a limited decision space in the beginning because you got your cost as a restraint, and then you've got what's there as a constraint. So there's not so much to think about, but you definitely have choices to make right from the beginning. And even if you kind of go the wrong way or you make a suboptimal choice, don't feel like it like counts you out necessarily in the first couple of rounds. So it's not one of those games where like I've heard it said, I haven't played it, but I've heard it said that like fast food tycoon, is that what's that called?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, is it fast food?
Why can't I remember what it's called? I don't think that's it. I think it was something else. But I
know what you're talking about.
Some Euro games, like you can lose them in the first round. You make a suboptimal move or something that's like either really bad or just a little bit less than what you could have done, and someone else makes the perfect move, and then you've already lost.
Yeah, that guy's games. Oh God, I've got like so many other.
Have it?
No, Food Chain Magnet.
Food Chain Magnet, yeah, that's the one.
And it's God, I can't figure out that. I've got these other like Steffenfield and all that stuff is popping in my head. It's
Rosenberg.
It's a weird like German sounding name. Anyways, the creator of those games, he sets those up where it's really like you have to play that game a few times, or at least through once before you can even have an idea of how to play the game. You have to play through this big long game once, and early decisions will screw you up for the whole thing.
Well, that's what I heard. That's kind of why I even avoided that game. This game's not like that.
Splatter.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
My favorite thing though is putting big guns on my spaceships and sending them into battle, like beefing them up, and then they're successful.
Yeah.
Like you did a good job. I have to blow up the big dome in the middle or whatever that thing is, the big galactic center.
Yeah, Sean beefed up and just exploded this thing in one hit. Just completely annihilated the galactic, the GCDS, the Galactic Center Defense System.
It turns out I waited way too long. Like if I'd done that like a turn sooner, then I probably could have gone in and caused him some problems too. But
Yeah, pretty neat. Was there anything that you like felt like was that you didn't like though about it too?
Well, so I didn't feel it so much at 2 players, but I have a feeling that at like 4 players, I'll forget what my strategy is by the time it goes all the way around. And sometimes, and I'm one of those people who's like, oh, I want to do that, and then if I have to wait, then I'll recalculate by the time it goes. Well, then lots of stuff happens.
Yeah.
So that I feel like there's it was harder for me to find a strategy as a new player. But this is kind of a first impression. This is my first crack at it, and I really love playing 2-player to learn this game. So that's my advice: 2 players to learn it, and then jump in with a bigger game with 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I wouldn't go any more than 3 on the learning game with this. You might have a bad time with that. But yeah, I'll say that the thing that I love games that that one will like constrain you and what you can do, so you can't do everything, and that have like a lot of avenues for victory. So in this game, it's a points game, and it can look like all you're doing is trying to beef up a big military force and going out there and taking everybody over. But if you spend all your time, like Sean was saying, he spent a good amount of time to set up this big force to just blow up the center defense system. It didn't get him a lot of points. I mean, it gave him like, it's a 4-point tile. It's one of the high, I think it's as high as those tiles go. You can find 4-point tiles too. It's an excellent tile for economy. So it's great to do like a few rounds before the end of the game, or at least a couple rounds before the end of the game. But it was kind of like one of those last kind of just fun hoorah play around things. It's just like beef up and hit that thing on your learning game. So don't fault Sean for wanting to do that. But there is this action selection mechanism that goes on where you have these action discs that you're going to have out here, and those will cover these costs. So I'm going to move these over because this is the end game state. These discs will be all the way across over here at the beginning of the game, and then as you do actions with them at the end of a round, you're going to have to pay this higher cost. So you can do like as many actions as you want to do on a round, but you have to have a way to pay for that. So it's fun to kind of like push that a bit. Like you get an extra 2 money income if you pass first. So you better pass if that's what you need to do in order to pay for your stuff. If you can't pay for everything, you can trade in resources 3-to-1 with the aliens, 2-to-1 with the humans. If you want to play a real balanced character, you can play the humans with the alien. Everybody wants to play with the aliens. They're a lot more fun, a lot neater. And so you have to, if you can't pay for, your economy just crashes and you fail. You just lose. Like basically everybody riots and all of your ships fall apart and you die, I guess. So you will fall out of the game if you can't do that. So you're really constrained on how many options you can do, but you could push that. You might even be able to want to just push your luck and go, I'm going to do an exploration action and hopefully I'll land on something that's going to give me even more of a money production to be able to pay for all these actions that I'm doing and spread out even further. I was using the plants, so the plants like really wanted to spread as much as possible and had a bonus to do that.
It's fascinating too that like these discs, when they're covered, represent your store, your bank, your resources. And then as you pull them off, that's how much you're going to have to pay. So some of the discs will go over here for actions. Other ones will go over here to claim things. And when they come off of your thing, then they're just not there anymore to cover up at the end of the round. And it's a great way to represent your empire expanding and becoming more expensive to maintain.
Yeah.
I thought that was really smart.
Yeah, you got to be able to pay for everything. And a lot of the times when you are expanding, you will be able to. You'll have options on the board to do that. So yeah, I think I think the theme comes through pretty well with the whole 4X and the economy building, military. It's not. It's not going to be a one-track game. There's always going to be a lot of different ways to win. You can get points from exploring, get points from doing really well in military battles. You can only get so many though. You can't, like, even if you just get the biggest, baddest army and you're taking everything down with it, unless you can just spread your people over and really wipe out the other people's places to take their points away from them. At some point, you're not gaining like a constant return from that, so it pushes you to kind of balance out your strategy maybe a little bit. So I really like that. But every time you play this game, though, you're gonna, like, I've always had some very unique setups with all of the different ships. I've had my interceptors where, like, they're really powerful, little fast, fighty little things, and they're easy to create. So I make like a bunch of interceptors and just send those out there to do the all of my battling with just the smallest ships. This particular game, the cruisers were pretty strong. Sean was able to get really good dreadnoughts out and actually create quite a bit, because even though he was a science-based faction, the places that he was landing on just happened to be a lot more set up for building materials. So he ended up having like quite a bit.
Well, at some point I trapped myself because and all I had was the most difficult AI enemy to fight. And then I could have.
We kind of blocked each other off, or I blocked you off from me because I didn't want you taking out my little easy to destroy plant colonies. So, yeah.
Well, when you lay these tiles out, they have little wormholes on different parts of it, so you can lay it out so that the other person doesn't have a way there, and you don't have a way to them without some tech that I haven't read the card for. But because of that, you were redirecting them away from me, and I was doing the same. So I was kind of over on this side, and then eventually, I got to a point where I couldn't go. There were no more tiles to go around this dude. Yeah, and my stuff had kind of led around the wrong way. So I had to fight somebody to go. So I had to pivot like mid game and then kind of go offense, and then I just kind of kept doing that through the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's neat to see how that plays out. The plants are easier to defeat, I think, in general. Like they're not the toughest, but they spread out like weeds, just like the theme of their character being plant people. And when they do an exploration action, they can explore 2 spots at the same time. So I just end up gobbling up all of because you're limited on how many of these exploration tiles you can get. There's ones for the center ring, the middle ring, and then anything further out. And in a 2-player game, there's only 5 of the anything further out ones, the number 3s. So I kind of saw that at one point, and I was just like, well, let me just take these 3s up. That's what I kind of thought. And that was one point where I kind of felt bad afterwards. I was like, oh, I should have mentioned that to Sean while I was doing it. I should have been like, hey, I'm kind of gobbling up these 3s. But I don't think it made it. I think he still got 2 of them, maybe. 2 of the 3s. Things? Of the number 3 exploration
the number
tiles.
3 terrain tiles.
Out of only 5 of them that were available.
Yeah, there are 2s here. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are just extra 2s. But obviously, there's only so many 2s. You're doing a hexagon shapes, so you've got 6 in the middle, and then however many more that come off to the side.
A lot of them come off with 8. Like fighters. For some reason, we had all the hard ones. Are you supposed to start with all the hard ones up, or is that just lucky?
Just luck. Yeah. You shuffle these all up, so your game's always going to be different with all of the different sections that are going to be explored. So, I think that's another thing that I really like. I love the kind of surprise of opening up a new territory because you don't know what you're going to get. You have to pivot off of, like, you might have a character that's going in with a certain strategy but isn't finding enough of the stuff. I don't know. I guess you got a decent amount of science stuff by the end of it. And actually, now that I look at your board, you really didn't even have that much stuff for building things, but you just weren't using a lot of building. So you had like a lot of building materials towards the end to make all those dreadnoughts and stuff with. So.
I had to save up. Like I spent almost 2 rounds not using my building materials just so I could have it. That's why it was all at the end and not like dominating throughout the whole. But I probably could have spent half that and sent all the cruisers in 2 turns earlier than I did.
Perhaps, perhaps.
I underestimated their power.
Possibly so. Yeah, your dreadnoughts were really tough. But the GCDS only fights back once at a time. It does roll like 4 die at a time. The fighting system's fairly simple in the game. I thought it was neat enough. They play with an idea of like speed versus the weaponry. So you have like the speed of like whoever's fastest is going to hit first, or they're at least going to attack first. And then you have like different levels. Like I think there's 4 different levels of dice. So you can have everything has to get a 6 to hit. And then you have modifiers that you can add on to your ships. So then you make like 5s and 6s hit. And then if you have a +2 modifier, then 4 5s and 6s are going to hit. But depending on how strong your weaponry is, you're either hitting for 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, or 4 damage. And then it all has to be directed towards one ship at a time when you're hitting with one particular weapon. And then there's extra tech that just kind of changes stuff around. Like there's one that lets you spread out damage to different things instead of having it all directed towards one. So you could make these surprisingly like beefy characters. You can have like there's missiles. We didn't get involved with using missiles, but that's another one that just like bypasses the normal hierarchy of speed on the ships, and all the missiles go out first. But they only get to shoot once, so it's like a one quick shot thing. There's some neat way you're playing with the defense on your ships. They all have to have like a power source. It's very thematic in that manner.
The missiles don't look like they need power.
Well, that particular one doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe none of them do. I'm not sure. I haven't learned all of the different tiles, but
that would make sense though, because they're
kind of self-powered. So. So they're neat, but they're one-shot things. So it's like you blow that load quick, and then it's done, and then you gotta rest before you're set up to be able to hit again with those.
Look at the library.
Yeah, quite a few different tech pieces here. Quite a few pieces of each different one as well. You can put multiple techs of the same variety on each ship, and you just always have to be able to pay for it, or you have to have enough power to be able to power all of the requirements. Some things have power requirements, some don't. Some techs are even the same as other techs, but they're like power free, so you can put them on things that otherwise wouldn't be able to hold them. So that's really neat. You can throw extra weapons. You can have 2 of the same weapon on the same ship. So I really love that. Those are the 2 biggest things I think I love. Well, okay, the 3 main things I think I love about this game is that you have the customized, unique experience with each of your ships each time. You have the limited ability to do anything. So with you're like, oh, I really want to do this stuff, but I have to be able to pay for it, and I have to figure out how to balance my actions and how far I'm spreading out into the cosmos here. Because the more spread out you get, the less you can do. Basically, you have to be able to pay for it. So you have to get a lot of money together to be able to pay for it.
It's kind of funny too. It's funny too because you can kind of borrow, like when you're exchanging other things, so you can kind of be real irresponsible and try to barter all your stuff down and then live with the limitations that you're left with.
And I had some great. I think I had some great decisions to make with that too, where I did that a couple times where I was like, oh man, I could just go ahead and spread out. I can do this. I can push it. I can pay for it. I can change out 3 of my science for 1 money. It's very inefficient. But yeah, I love that. And I love the kind of treasure hunting aspect of like exploring into somewhere. And
I felt a little bit like Zaya.
Yeah, kind of
missions,
kind of. Yeah, you don't know what's going to show up.
Fly into.
Right. Yeah, you don't accidentally just lose all at once. So I like that. And I don't think that's necessarily that part's not unique to this game. You can find that in a lot of these space kind of exploration 4X games where you're opening up new tiles. But that's was a lot of fun for me. Really liked that a lot. I don't really think there's anything that I really dislike about this game.
I think games like this in general, like the length of it, can kind of wear on you.
That would be the only thing that maybe. I mean, but I enjoy the.
Nobody
even
pulls
the whole
this out and
time
doesn't expect it though.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know what you're in for. You didn't go, oh, I thought this was going to be like a 60-minute wingspan session.
I thought this was going to be a short little quick romp. Honestly, last time I played a 2-player game, we were done in like I was telling Sean, it was like 2 hours. It was a very fast experience for this.
Well, if we turned around and had just done it right again, we probably would have been.
Yeah, it would have been a lot quicker. I was having to remember rules. The other person I was playing with last time had played the game times before as well, and so they were able to kind of help me remember stuff as I was helping them remember stuff.
I think being the rules explainer for this would be kind of difficult if you had a lot of people and stuff.
Could be, yeah. So
that might be if I was going to offer
last time
criticism.
When we did that as a 6-player game, both the person that brought the game and myself, I had rewatched videos at the time. I was lazy with Sean. I didn't rewatch any videos. I was just like, I'll remember. It's fine. Come on. But I had. So I was like, we were both able to teach us, like we were teaching it together more or less to the whole crowd. So that was helpful. And then while somebody's like trying to remember something, the other guy can be sitting there flipping through and kind of finding that information quickly through the rule book. I think the rule book is pretty decent. I don't tend to like get too crazy critiquing rule books. I wish they had an index. There's a lot of words. I wish there was there's a decent amount of pictures, but I wish there was maybe a little more pictures. I wish they had a better like a player aid, perhaps. There's a bit of one on the back, but the thing that you're constantly flipping to is what these tech tiles do, especially the black. Individual tech. Yeah, the special black tiles that are like individual super tiles or whatever. So and granted, if you played it a few times, you'd start to remember all that stuff. But I felt like I had to keep going back, and it wasn't. I don't know. There's something about this rule book, the way it's set up, like. There was this simple rule I was looking. It took me like 5-10 minutes, maybe. I don't know. I felt like I was looking for it forever, and then I finally found it. It needs an index. I think that's the biggest thing.
If you got walls of text like this, you're going to need at least a page number to help you get to where you need to go.
I think if it had an index, that would have made a big difference. So
I want to look at these like all these different tech tiles. There's so many of them. It's funny. There should be a third party that just goes into big complicated things like this and just makes an index. I wonder if you could sell like for $1 a game just the index for the rule book.
I'm sure it's like people have that where you can print them online on BGG and probably figure it out from there. But
sometimes with a game like this, a player aid made on BGG ends up being the thing that really makes it easier to deal with.
Yeah. So. It's fine though. I mean, I think everything is explained pretty well in the book if you read through the whole thing. But it's not the best for reference. I'll say that it's not the easiest thing to just get back to a little bit of information that is in there.
A quick reference for these would be ideal.
Yeah. But overall, really neat game trays. The production is excellent. The game trays are really helpful. You have individual sections for each of the different factions, so everybody's got their own color. And then I really like the way they did all of these. You fill these up with cubes, and then the more you take away, the more your production is in each of these areas. And those cubes represent population, so they're like people that are producing these resources for you. You got a great way to track everything. Everything fits in really well. You got a section underneath that, so that's the lid, and then inside the lid, then you've got spaces for all the ships. Everything's labeled pretty well. I just really well done game trays inserts. You got good inserts for holding all of the tiles. You got sections for holding all of the individual ships as well. So you are like the gray pieces, the NPC characters. You got special buildings that you can make here to give you extra production, little orbitals and point scoring obelisks, I guess, that are kind of maybe representing the
ancient
black
knowledge.
Yeah, like the black door from Space Odyssey or something. I guess it's, I guess that's the reference. But there's ways to ratchet up the difficulty with NPC characters too. You can make them more difficult with these level 2 sections and things like that. So it's got a lot of replayability. I mean, it's just a fantastic game. There's nothing I've got again really bad to say about the game. I really enjoy it. I'd love to play it more often than I do. It's one of those games that's a little long as far as like not long in the sense that I don't enjoy playing it the entire time, but it's a little long in the sense that I don't get it out as much as I would like to, because it's kind of an intimidating experience for a lot of people. But the people that have played it and know it a little, even just a little bit, tend to really enjoy it and aren't going to necessarily shy away from playing it again.
And it could be really something that you kind of do that couch to 4K thing where you take a friend and you show them this game, and you play it for a couple of hours, then you take another friend and you show them, and then you bring your 2 friends together and then you play again.
Yeah, and then you have a whole group play session.
Eventually you get it out. The trick is to pull this out and play it ever so often, so you remember the rules. Yeah. Sometimes when you got thousands of games, it's like
yeah, exactly.
It's tough to focus on one.
Yeah, but it's a great experience. So it's just it is hefty to I don't know. It's just to get people into wanting to play with you, but
it's not nearly as heavy as it looks.
No.
Like I internalized this much faster than Twilight Imperium, and I actually studied before that we played that game.
Yeah, we really did. Yeah, we went into it with that game. Yeah, I mean that was
turtle soup.
It was fun. I'd love to play Twilight again, but that's a day-long experience.
I would saddle up to this game.
Yeah,
so much faster than that. Than another Twilight Imperium.
This would be a great, good, meaty 4-hour game. This should be...
Is this the 4X?
Yeah.
Expand?
Yeah, expand, exploit, exterminate, and explore. Did I say explore? Yeah. No.
Expand, exterminate, exterminate.
I think expand and explore, I was mixing those two together. It's explore, exterminate,
expand.
Exploit, and expand and explore are the same thing, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, because when I eat fast food, I expand,
right?
But I don't really go anywhere.
That's true.
Because it could be you just growing your power, like getting resources and stuff.
Why am I forgetting the other one?
You exploit.
I'm having a brain fart. I'll remember it while Sean's talking the next time. That's usually when I remember things. I like interrupt him. Exterminate. Oh, it's gonna kill me. Okay, whatever. I'll put it. There it is. All right, put it down.
This is a great game if you know what you're in for. Mm-hmm. I think it's an easy choice. If you look at this board, you already know if you want to play it or not.
I think so. Yeah, you got individual, like again with the production, you got individualized ships too. All the plastic feels really. It's just really well done.
I liked it a lot better than I thought I would, to be honest. Like, because he's like, let's play this game. I was like, oh, okay. But Owen's shown me so many games that I probably never would have bought or tried to learn. But when he shows me, they're fun.
If I'm telling him that the game's a really good game, then it's usually a good game.
Usually a good
game. It's at least a game I like, and I'll have fun. So.
Subscribe if you believe in Owen, as I do.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'll go ahead and we've been rambling on for forever about this game. I will go ahead and rate it. As a point, man. This really is a fantastic. I think I'm going to end up putting this at a 9 out of 10. This is a really well done game.
That's high praise.
Really well done game. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games, definitely. And you know, a little struggle remembering the rules where I haven't played it in like a year and a half probably. But after having gone through that last game, I was like, I remember why I like this game so much. This is such a fun experience. I feel like I'm getting that true 4X experience. I feel like I'm developing a civilization, and it's not too intimidating to get out. So really enjoy it. I think it's just a fantastic job. It's made by a company called Lautapelit.fi. I don't know where that name comes from or how that works.
Is that French?
Yeah. We didn't even mention originally what it's I'm not going to pronounce this properly, but it's Taco Kallio is the name of the guy that made it. So a little late to mention that, but I'm going to mention it anyways. So they did a great job, and it's a great second. I never played the first edition, but second edition is fantastic. So if you have any inkling to think that you'll like this game, I think you'll love it. I think you'll really enjoy it. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for hanging out, listening to this first review over here at the new house, and for the first time having Sean over
turning the tables.
Turning the tables. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you again so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day. If you enjoy this kind of content, a couple of those free clicks on the screen really help support out channels like mine and like Sean's. So feel free to check out Sean's. I'll have a link to him at the end of the video as well. So again, thank you so much. I hope you all are enjoying your evening. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.